Are Ford and GM's electric vehicles about to crash and burn? Factories slowing, layoffs mounting, and losses piling up. Today I'm revealing the ugly truth about the EV race and why pumping the brakes might be their only chance to survive. We'll expose the plunging EV sales, soaring losses in the billions, and the dirty secret automakers don't want you to know. How the mismatch between supply and demand could cause a massive EV pileup. And why customers are fleeing back to old-fashioned gas cars as this forced transition backfires. Grab your crash helmets, because Ford and GM's rush to electric is headed for a major wreck. Now I know some of you are super excited about an all-electric future. But based on what's happening with automakers Ford and GM, it might be time to temper those expectations. Let me explain. Ford and GM have made big promises about transitioning to EVs. But so far, it's been a slow start filled with speed bumps. Why? Well, turns out the average customer just isn't ready to go all in on EVs yet. And who can blame them? EVs come with major trade-offs that many folks aren't willing to make right now. Let's look at the numbers. Ford is losing an incredible $36,000 on every single EV they sell. You heard that right, they lose over $35,000 on each Mustang Mach-E and F-150 Lightning that goes out the door. Now I'm no business expert, but losing almost 40 large on every sale sounds like a fast track to bankruptcy court. But those major losses aren't stopping Ford from plowing ahead anyway. They still plan to ramp up production this year to build 600,000 more EVs, even though experts estimate they'll bleed $3 billion in the process. That's billions with a B. And remember, this is on top of the $1.3 billion their EV division already lost in just the last quarter alone. At this pace, Ford's EV program won't just drain their battery, it could empty their bank account. Meanwhile, over at GM, the situation looks even more dire. Get this, they just laid off over 1,000 workers in a single week as they hit the brakes on EV production. And why? Because sales are lagging way behind all the EVs they're churning out. GM sales only inched up 28% in the third quarter, even as their production surged 40%. It's a huge mismatch. They've got far more EVs sitting unsold on lots than customers lining up to buy them. But incredibly, GM's CEO Mary Barra has her foot firmly on the gas pedal, saying the company won't lower EV prices to make them more affordable. She claims selling EVs for under $30,000 just won't be profitable. Well, what good is a small profit if no one can afford your cars? And if Barra stays stubborn on pricing, one forecast predicts GM's EV sales could plummet by 70% over the next 3 years. At that pace, they'd be lucky to give away these unwanted EVs. So why isn't consumer demand keeping up with all the EVs automakers are churning out? Here are the top reasons based on the data. First, cost. The average EV today sells for around $60,000 fully loaded. That's almost double the roughly $35,000 price tag for a typical gas-powered car. For many family budgets, EV sticker shock is just too much. Sure, you may save on fuel and maintenance down the road, but most folks are focused on the here and now and that huge upfront payment. Second, lack of options. Right now, 80% of EVs for sale are boring sedans, crossovers, or luxury SUVs. What happened to pickups and fun-to-drive sports cars? Turns out gearheads love torque too, but they aren't finding it yet in EVs. Third, range anxiety is real. Today's EVs average about 250 miles per charge. But surveys show car shoppers are looking for a minimum of 300 miles before they feel comfortable taking the all-electric plunge. And even with 250 miles, good luck taking a spur-of-the-moment road trip out of town in your EV. You'll be making lots of charging pit stops. Finally, the charging hassle. Most EV owners have to charge at home. Installing a high-speed level 2 charger costs thousands. And good luck apartment renters, your landlord likely isn't paying for that. Plus public charging stations are still few and far between compared to gas stations. Trying to find a place to charge on the go can mean taking long detours. Ain't nobody got time for that. The result? In a twist, almost 50% of current EV owners are now trading back in for hybrids like the Toyota Prius. Turns out they miss the quick fill-ups and long range of good old gas. Can't say I blame them. And this EV buyer's remorse is hitting automakers hard. Just look at Ford, their red-hot Mustang Mach-E was flying off lots last year. But now dealer inventory has ballooned from 30 days supply a year ago to a whopping 170 days today. Ford dealers are drowning in stale inventory as customers turn their noses up at these flashy but impractical EVs. No wonder some dealers are refusing new Mach-E shipments. It's a similar story with GM, who had to idle production lines and lay off workers at their Orion plant as Chevy Bolt EV sales sputtered. And unfortunately, those 1,300 workers may be left sitting in the pits for years. That Orion facility won't be building EVs again until 2028 when GM's next-gen electric trucks arrive. A long time to be left dangling. But it's not game over yet for EVs. There are a few bright spots in this fog of consumer hesitation. For starters, Tesla. They're still humming along nicely, thanks to their devotion to speed, sex appeal, and top-notch charging infrastructure. If the old-school automakers want to get back on track, they need to take a page from Tesla and make these EVs fast, flashy, and functional. Stop pushing puttering compliance cars and give us vehicles with sizzle. The other bit of good news is pickups. Early demand for electric trucks like Ford's Lightning and the Rivian or 1T has been strong since these rugged rigs better align with pickup preferences. Now Ford just needs to get them built without bankrupting themselves. Easier said than done. But the road ahead remains filled with potholes as automakers chase this forced transition to EVs while many customers cling to gas. And can you blame the average buyer? We're talking about a major leap here. Sure, EVs may be the future. But the cold hard truth is that the future seems far off when these electric cars still cost a fortune, can't drive far, and need hours to recharge on road trips. My advice? Stop trying to force-feed EVs to reluctant buyers. Slow this EV train down to a pace customers can adapt to. Keep selling affordable hybrids that ease the transition. And make these EVs truly irresistible, not just compliance cars. The EV transition will happen. But it needs to be consumer-driven, not politician-driven. Because if automakers get too far ahead of their customers, they risk a major pile-up. And we're already seeing those fender benders piling up for Ford and GM. Let me know what you think. Should automakers slow down the pace of EV adoption to match demand? Or stay floored on the gas despite losses and unsold inventory? Looking forward to reading your comments and reactions. And make sure to mash that subscribe button so you don't miss my upcoming video revealing the top electric vehicles I think could actually excite consumers and save the EV revolution. I'll see you soon.